Hi everyone, and welcome to Further Food for Thought. This is just the opportunity to go a little bit further, and in particular a sort of a prompt for what you can engage with in your life groups, to follow up on the talk that I did on Sunday morning, which was in our series Living With, and I was talking about living with opposition. And if you haven't yet seen that or watched that, I'd encourage you to do that, because the first thing I want to encourage you to do as life groups is just share back. I made 6 points pretty quickly. Boom, 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 boom. Well, fairly like that. And I'd like to encourage you to just sort of share back what you think was the most pertinent point for you. So there were 6 points, and different things may have spoken to different people. Which was most pertinent for you and why? So if you start by sharing that back, and therefore it would really help if you've watched the talk back, that would be really great. Then I just want to encourage you to just focus around 3 of the points in particular, the ones in the middle, point 3, 4, 5, but we're going to take them in a slightly different order. And so one of the points I made was that we need to hold on to what God has said to us, that when challenges come, it really matters that we know God's spoken to us, that we're in the place that He wants us to be, that we're doing the things that He wants us to do, that helps us to keep going and to not be put off when we face opposition. And so I'd love you to share back things that God has said to you and things that He's spoken to you over your life. We looked at the verse in 1 Timothy where Paul says, "Timothy, my son, I'm giving you this command in keeping with the prophecies once made about you, so that by recalling them you may fight the battle well." And I'd like to take a little bit of time as a group to share back prophecies that have been spoken over your life over the years, and things that have been, that God has said to you, to recall them together. And actually, when those that you're doing life with, the life group is a place for us to be sharing with quite deeply. So to be able to share the things that God said to you and spoken over your life, and for people to be aware, it will help them to be cheering you on and spurring you on in whatever battles you may face. So that's the first thing, to share that back. The second thing that I want you to think about is that around the point, keep it in perspective. And in particular, just to take a little bit of time to talk about what are the key elements and key things that we need to keep in perspective. How do we ensure that the size of the opposition, the size of the challenge, doesn't take a wrong place in our thinking, but somehow we keep it in that right place and we keep it in a right perspective? And in particular, how do we ensure that, what are the key things we keep our mind on and we keep our perspective on, that ensures the challenge or the giant, we talked about Goliath, stays in its right perspective? What do you need to hold on to? What are the perspectives about God, about His word, and other perspectives generally that you need to keep hold of, that will ensure you see this challenge and this opposition in its right place, and you keep it in its right place in your minds? And then the final thing, and my third point, but I'm ending it with it in this context for life group purposes, is that the significance of bringing whatever challenge we have to God, and whatever opposition we're facing, we bring it to God. And I would love to encourage you to take some time as a life group to share situations you may be facing where you are facing some opposition. You think, yeah, this is being challenged, and then to bring it to God, to have time in prayer together, bringing those things to God, praying for each other, praying for one another. And there may be some things that are quite personal and you think it's not appropriate to share. And if that's the case, then I think there are things that where that can be true, and you can't quite share the fullness of something because it uncovers someone else or something. But excuse me, if that is the case, I would just encourage you, to make sure you personally bring it to God. So even if don't get to share it in a time of prayer, you quietly bring those things to God. Let's make sure that the first place we go is to God. Let's understand that when we fight on our knees, because the battle belongs to the Lord. Okay, I hope you have a great time sharing, talking together and praying together as you think about this a little bit further. Every blessing. Thanks for listening.